Sutra. Word. Law. Dream. Speaking of dreams as something predetermined. We dive into a dream, try to imagine it has already come true, memorize this feeling, and look at today from the heights of an already fulfilled dream. The French writer Anatole France once remarked, "Dreams are more powerful than reality." And how could it be otherwise if they themselves are the highest reality? They are the soul of existence. It's very important to treat your dream as something real, tangible, and even already destined. On the path to achieving our life goals, we often face serious obstacles. Much depends on our personal abilities and the resources we possess. However, very often, the secret of success or failure of specific people cannot be reduced to simple accounting of resources or inventories of objective factors in their biographies. History tells us how often intelligent and talented individuals lost to much less brilliant personalities, and how the rich and noble became part of the entourage of those who came from humble backgrounds. There is always a certain magic in this. We see the result, but we don't fully understand how it was achieved. Too many circumstances, external forces, and cause and effect relationships participate, but undoubtedly, an internal confidence in the predestination of our dream serves as the grease that ensures the successful operation of the mechanism of destiny. Dreams of everything you could achieve in life are a crucial element of a positive life. Let your imagination roam freely and create worlds. Albert Einstein. In the mid-18th century, on the island of Corsica, a boy was born into a not-so-wealthy and not-so-noble family. His father worked in the judicial system, and his mother was an attractive but completely uneducated woman. God blessed the Corsican family with 13 children. For child-loving Italians, this was considered a blessing, but it also meant that none of the children could expect a significant inheritance. Fortune did not promise much to young Napoleon Bonaparte either, who, on top of everything else, suffered from a persistent cough in his childhood. The doctors suspected tuberculosis. His parents looked at him with pity. Only 7 of their 13 children had survived. But the boy had an important ability that many of his peers lacked: he knew how to dream. Climbing into a small room under the tiled roof, he immersed himself in reading. Before Napoleon's mind's eye paraded the great commanders and thinkers of antiquity, battles rumbled, and noble knights performed feats in honor of beautiful ladies. An unwavering participant in these fantasies was Napoleon himself. In his dreams, he saw himself surrounded by glory, wealth, and honors. His fiery Corsican blood boiled. He passionately desired his dreams to become reality. Later, when he became Emperor of the French and King of Italy, the most celebrated commander in modern European history, and the husband of the beautiful Josephine de Beauharnais, Napoleon I Bonaparte recalled that he had first read Rousseau's Julie, or the New Heloise, at the age of 9. The dreams of a little Corsican boy were so vivid and strong that their energy transformed a frail child into a strong man, warrior, and commander. Napoleon's path was not strewn with rose petals. Several times, fate brought him to the brink of disaster. But the dream, like a guiding star, led him, never abandoning him in the most difficult moments. He entered history as a great emperor. And it all started with a childhood dream in a small room under the tiled roof of a Corsican house. A dream has wings that never tire, says a Kazakh proverb. A person is quite capable of programming themselves, but not for abstract success, only for a specific goal. Everyone dreams, but not in the same way. Lawrence of Arabia is attributed with the following words: "Those who dream by night in the dusty recesses of their minds wake in the day to find that it was vanity, but the dreamers of the day are dangerous people, for they may act on their dreams with open eyes to make them possible." What matters is the dream, not mere daydreaming. For this, two things are needed: to have a clear image of the future and to maintain a positive attitude toward the world. One without the other won't work. But if you correctly formulate your mindset, it organizes all the various ornaments scattered in the dark corners of your life, uniting all your knowledge, skills, and abilities into a single moving mechanism. Creating a clear image of the goal is crucial for success. This works not only for global life tasks but also in everyday reality. The human brain is wired in such a way that it naturally builds the chain of actions required to achieve the goal toward which a person is currently striving. For example, when running over rough terrain, we don't look at our feet or the sky but focus our gaze at a certain distance ahead. And our brain coordinates the movement of our arms and legs so that we can jump over or step over obstacles when needed. Our brain constructs the entire program of our actions based on the image of the goal we want to realize. Where should we look when driving a nail into a wall? At the spot on the wall where the nail should be. We could spend a vast amount of time calculating the trajectory of the hammer, taking into account the length of the handle, the diameter of the nail head, etc. But ultimately, our brain will do it all for us if we just focus on the goal, the spot on the wall where the nail should go. Achieving a dream, or a strategic life goal, operates in much the same way, though it is far more complex and probabilistic. This brings us into the realm of intricate relationships between the present, past, and future. When we imagine something clearly and vividly as something already predetermined, we become capable of objectively assessing it, because in our minds it already exists. Let's recall the famous approach, the view from the future, proposed by the creators of neurolinguistic programming, NLP, John Grinder and Richard Bandler. According to it, when designing our actions, we mentally transport ourselves to the point of destiny we dream of, to look at ourselves from the outside, to survey the surroundings, and analyze all the pros and cons of that future situation. After that, we look from that hypothetical future back at today and compile a list of the actions we need to take to make that future a reality, or more precisely, what we have already done to achieve it, as if we are already at that point. Then we return to the present with this program of actions. Confidence can move mountains. Who wants, can. An attempt to provide a universal, scientific explanation of the phenomenon of dreams, considering the limitations of modern science, was made by the participants of the Secret Research Project, a well-known film and book about the mechanisms of personal success and personal growth. In their interpretation, the karmic law of dreams is described using the law of attraction, understood not only as a physical but also as a global, metaphysical law. The law of attraction states, like attracts like, claims the project's leader, Rhonda Byrne. This means that when we think about something, we attract similar thoughts. Thoughts act like magnets, they have a specific frequency. When we think, our thoughts go out into the universe and magnetically attract similar things, everything that exists on the same frequency. Whatever is sent out into the world returns to its source, us. We are a transmitting station in a human body, broadcasting a certain frequency with our thoughts. If we want to change something in our lives, we need to tune into a different frequency by changing our thoughts. Our current thoughts create our future life. What we think about most, what we focus on most, will appear in our life. Our thoughts become reality. Wasn't this what Paulo Coelho wrote about in his famous novel The Alchemist? When you want something, all the universe conspires in helping you to achieve it. Imagination is everything. It is the preview of life's coming attractions. Albert Einstein. To live without a dream is to live a life without direction. Kazakh proverb. Fred Alan Wolf, a specialist in quantum physics, lecturer, and recipient of the American National Book Award, claims, "This is not about mistaking wishful thinking for reality or confusing fantasies with delusions. It's about something deeper, more fundamental." Quantum physics is indeed approaching this discovery. It suggests that you cannot imagine or understand the universe without including your own mind, and that the mind indeed gives shape to everything it perceives. According to the principles of quantum physics, there is a non-zero probability of an elementary particle being located anywhere in space. The interaction of particles can be described using the concept of a wave function. For macro objects, the situation is complicated by the fact that this function must consist of a set of wave functions for all the elementary particles that make up the macro object. With our thoughts, we can influence our wave function, which describes our interaction with other people and objects in the surrounding world. Thus, we increase the likelihood of realizing the future we desire. There are two primary techniques for creating a dream image, or goal: visualization and verbalization. In reality, these are two sides of the same coin. Visualization is a method taught by all great mentors and leaders, including those alive today, writes Rhonda Byrne. Visualization is so powerful because the images present in our minds sharply focus our thoughts and evoke equally strong emotions. Dreaming of a yacht, for instance, you can hang a picture of it on the wall and imagine standing barefoot on the pleasant teak boards, preparing to cast off. In this simple way, a person programs, builds, and motivates themselves. A vague desire may not yet be a full-fledged dream, but well-formulated motivation can move mountains. It is easiest to achieve the dreams in which we do not doubt. Alexander Dumas, Père. Blessed is the one who sometimes lives in the future, blessed is the one who lives in dreams. Alexander Radishchev. Do not think the mountain pass is impassable, say it is passable, and you will cross it. We all possess greater powers and abilities than we realize, and visualization is one of the greatest, says French writer Geneviève Barrand. The famous business consultant John Assaraf shares a personal experience that demonstrates the effectiveness of visualization. In 1995, I made a so-called vision board of the things I wanted to achieve or attract, for example, a watch, a car, or a life partner, and I hung images of my dreams on this board. Every day I would sit at my desk, look at this board, and begin visualizing. I really felt as though I already had everything. Later, I was preparing to move, and we left all the furniture and boxes in storage. Over 5 years, I moved 3 times and eventually ended up in California, where I bought a house, renovated it for a year, and then brought the things out of storage. One morning my son Keenan walked into my office and stumbled upon one of those boxes that had been closed for 5 years. "What's in these boxes, Dad?" he asked, and I replied, "These are my vision boards. I cut out or find pictures and photos of what I want in life and put them on the board." I opened the box, and on one of the boards was the house I had visualized 5 years ago. I was utterly shocked because we now lived in this house. Not just a similar house, I had actually bought the house of my dreams, renovated it, and didn't even realize it. The second method is verbalization. Naturally, this, along with visualization, is the other side of the same coin. Another way to clearly model your dream is something that has already happened, already existing in the universe. We must define our dream in concrete words. If we can express it clearly, it means we have already comprehended what we want, our goal already exists on the mental plane. According to modern philosophical concepts, language is not just a means of communication but a powerful tool for changing social reality. In the theory of speech acts by the famous British philosopher of the second half of the 20th century, one of the founders of analytical philosophy, John Austin, speech itself is viewed as a series of actions, not just the use of language. Austin identifies some speech acts that do not refer to other actions but represent themselves and are significant social actions in and of themselves. For example, an oath or a bet. Austin called these performative, meaning they derive their meaning and power from their performance and the moment they are spoken by a specific person. In this way, Austin endowed speech with the power to create reality. Later, the potential of speech to create social reality was fully developed by the well-known American philosopher of the late 20th and early 21st century, John Searle, who wrote several books on the topic, such as The Construction of Social Reality and Rationality in Action. One of the most striking examples of verbalization in social history, which reflected the extraordinary power of persuasion and mobilized tremendous public potential, is Martin Luther King Jr.'s famous speech on overcoming racial discrimination in the U.S., delivered to 300,000 Americans in 1963, which began with the words, "I have a dream. I have a dream. This dream is deeply rooted in the American dream. We refuse to believe that the Bank of Justice is bankrupt. Therefore I tell you, whatever you ask for in prayer, believe that you have received it, and it will be yours." Mark 11:24. I dream that one day on the red hills of Georgia, the sons of former slaves and the sons of former slave owners will be able to sit together at the table of brotherhood. I have a dream that my 4 children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin but by the content of their character. King's speech had a tremendous social impact and became one of the key milestones in the civil rights movement to achieve racial equality in the U.S. "The future belongs to those who believe in the beauty of their dreams," said Eleanor Roosevelt. A dream is born as a thought, an idea. Some dreams are destined to come true, while others fade without taking real form. American writer and philosopher Richard Bach stated, "You are given a dream with the powers necessary to achieve it. However, you may need to work for it." So how can we make sure that dreams start to become reality? The first step can be to talk about your dream, for example, with your family or a close, trusted friend, suggests psychologist Joshua Becker. For the dream to start taking shape, it needs to be brought into form. Let the sound be the first physical embodiment of your dream in the real world. Of course, this first step may seem very difficult. A person may fear that others will find their dream silly. There is also the temptation to hide the dream due to a lack of confidence that it will be realized, as people fear the embarrassment of failure. These fears are quite strong for most people. However, if we weigh the pros and cons, we will find that talking about our dream is much more advantageous than keeping it hidden. First, by talking about our dream, we remind ourselves of our desire. Second, we bring structure and clarity to it. When we share our dream with several people, we repeat the story over and over again, and naturally, our thoughts become more specific and clear with each repetition. Moreover, we can observe the reactions and emotions our plans evoke in listeners and draw conclusions. Some people may be much more knowledgeable on the subject and able to provide us with effective help and advice. The true scientist is a dreamer, and those who are not call themselves practical people. Honoré de Balzac. Third, by sharing our ideas and speaking of them with confidence in a positive outcome, we begin to take responsibility, and as a result, we become more determined to act. It's one thing to go on a secret diet and hope to lose 5 kilograms, but it's entirely different to announce your intention publicly. In the latter case, our friends and family begin, in a way, to hold us accountable. They ask about our progress, notice achievements, and offer encouragement. Taking responsibility is never easy, but it often helps achieve desired results. The biological aspects of the process of immersing in a dream, its verbalization, and visualization are no less fascinating. Millions of years of evolution have endowed living organisms with the ability to see, hear, touch, taste, and smell objects of the material world. However, humans, unlike animals, exhibit the highest level of development in the brain's analytic and synthetic processes. The emergence of new features of human higher nervous activity was associated with the development of a new system of stimuli in the form of words, which designate various phenomena and objects in the surrounding world. According to I.M. Sichanov, speech plays a crucial role in thinking processes. The peculiarity of a word, as a specific stimulus, is that it is more complex than simple auditory, optical, or kinesthetic stimuli. Thanks to speech, a person can generate images and sounds without the corresponding external real objects or sounds. Physiologically, this manifests in the formation of a powerful connection in the cerebral cortex between the trace of the word and the image of the phenomenon or object it designates. From these two components, closely linked into a single whole, the dynamic structure of the cerebral cortex is formed, which is activated and brought into action by verbal stimuli. Essentially, words and direct stimuli become interchangeable in the higher nervous activity of humans. Every time we reproduce the image of our dream through words and internal speech, we reinforce it in the cerebral cortex and thus create the basis for forming a program for its realization. By speaking of the dream as something predetermined and present, we model a situation in which our mind removes the label of novelty from it and finds the most suitable mechanism for its realization. When you want something, all the universe conspires in helping you to achieve it. Paulo Coelho, The Alchemist. Everyone who is successful must have dreams. The existence of complex metaphysical mechanisms that enable the materialization of desires and dreams was intuitively well known to primitive people. This intuitive knowledge manifested in early forms of religious beliefs, particularly in practices like hunting magic. Hunting magic was used to enhance the success of the hunt, wrote Gordon Childe, a British-Australian historian and one of the leading archaeologists of the 20th century. Its main varieties were the imitation of the hunting process and the offering of gifts to small figurines of animals or the mother goddess, which were carved from stone or mammoth tusks, or molded from clay. Deep caves with prehistoric drawings have been discovered in France. Almost in complete darkness, artist-magicians would draw or carve images of rhinoceroses, mammoths, bison, and reindeer, the animals that were eaten. They believed that when a painted bison was enchanted with the masterful strokes of the artist, the real beast would inevitably be killed and consumed. This magical art was so significant in Upper Paleolithic beliefs that the artist-magician was exempted from participating in the hunt to focus on the more effective ritual. He had his own role in the hunt's trials and hardships, albeit spiritually. In traditional cultures of tribes and peoples who retained primitive social structures, ritual dances are well known, where participants imitate a successful hunt, essentially programming hunting success for themselves. Human dreams are beyond the sky, one becomes emperor and desires immortality. The magical element remains in monotheistic religions, primarily in the phenomenon of prayer. And whatever you ask in prayer, with faith, you will receive, says the Gospel of Matthew, MT 21:22. While there is no longer an attempt to visualize the desired outcome through magical performance, internally and psychologically, a person usually imagines what they are asking from God. Some versions of Protestantism have radically rejected the possibility of magical influence on higher powers. Prayer serves different purposes for them, praising the Creator, expressing submission to His will, but for most Christians, prayer as petition remains one of the key aspects of faith. Nevertheless, the doctrine of predestination, the sense of being chosen by God, and one's vocation, including professional, which obligates the believer to diligently fulfill their social roles, acts as a powerful visualizing factor that helps Protestants achieve worldly success, as Max Weber wrote in his work The Protestant Ethic and the Spirit of Capitalism. In Islam, dreams as such are not forbidden, for one can dream of spiritual growth. However, the key is that such thoughts should not distract or prevent a person from taking real actions that can benefit both in this life and the eternal one. The Prophet Muhammad said, "If any of you wishes for something, dreams of something, then let him not wish for small things, but ask for a lot, for he is addressing his Lord, the Creator of all things, the Lord of the worlds, for whom it is no difficulty to materialize any request." Quran 36:82. Dreams are not an escape from reality but a way to get closer to it. Somerset Maugham. Nothing is impossible, you just have to believe in yourself. But there is a great danger that if a person fails to achieve their dream, they get stuck in daydreams and become utterly helpless. Empty dreams have never brought anyone any benefit. They are like a starving person imagining they are eating and drinking but remaining hungry and thirsty. Dreams are thoughts, and thoughts can either be beneficial or harmful. A Muslim should hope for Allah's mercy and ask for His help, so that their dreams may come true, especially those that are beneficial and help on the path to God. The Prophet Muhammad said, "If any of you desires something, dreams of something, first let him look at what he desires, think about whether it is really necessary for him. Indeed, he does not know which of his desires will receive divine blessing." Quran 36:82. Only God knows which dreams will benefit us and should come true in our fate, and which desires we are better off without. Kabbalah, as a methodology for achieving goals through understanding the higher religious meaning, teaches that one can create a formula for achieving the desired, or happiness. Desire plus want plus can equals have. Speaking at the level of dreams, a dream has a similar formula for manifestation: dream equals desire, intend, act equals realize. However, one should not forget that a dream contains a different proportion of the infinite and the invisible compared to desire. If a desire is immediately materialized through specific actions, a dream begins to manifest through subtle mental visualization settings. Thus, dream equals visualize the dream plus feel the dream plus sense the dream as a realized fact. A bad soldier is one who doesn't dream of becoming a general. Unlike Judaism, Christianity, or Islam, which recognize a certain value in earthly, human history as part of the grand divine project, Providence, Buddhism and Hinduism in their developed theological forms more consistently preach liberation from passions and the renunciation of material values. The main goal of Buddhism is to achieve nirvana, the cessation of suffering caused by human desires, passions, and dreams, and the attainment of shunyata, the highest tranquility of emptiness. Hindus, in turn, affirm that Brahma is present in everything, and therefore, all is divine. The Atman, or individual soul, is one with Brahma, and any reality outside of Brahma is an illusion. Therefore, the spiritual goal of Hindus is to become one with Brahma, thus ending the illusion of individuality. This freedom is called moksha. Until it is achieved, Hindus believe they will reincarnate to continue working toward self-realization in the pursuit of truth, which is that only Brahma exists, and nothing else. A person's reincarnations are determined by karma, a principle of cause and effect governed by natural balance. Paradoxically, despite the rejection of ordinary human dreams, these religions offer a deeply consistent concept of the unity of all existence, which confirms our approach that dreams should be perceived as predestined if we want them to come true. If the entire world around us is an illusion, it makes sense to realize the version of that illusion that aligns with our innermost desires. What we are today is the result of our past thoughts, and today's thoughts create tomorrow's life. Life is the creation of our mind, said Buddha. We immerse ourselves in the dream, try to imagine that it has already come true, and remember this feeling. People who acknowledge the dream as the highest reality speak of it with faith and know that on the subtle plane of being, it has already been accomplished. Only a person filled with self-belief can realize his will, directly bringing it into life, said Maxim Gorky. This is also reflected in the proverbs of various peoples: confidence will move a mountain. Russian, don't think the ridge is impassable, say it's passable, and you'll cross it. Buryat, nothing is impossible, you just have to believe in yourself. Udmurt. Those who live are those who fight, / and only those whose hearts are dedicated to a lofty dream are truly alive. Victor Hugo. A person without a dream is like a bird without wings. The only thing that destroys dreams is compromise. Richard Bach. The Romantic writer Victor Hugo once said something profound about how dreams become reality: nothing fosters the creation of the future like bold dreams. Today, they are utopia; tomorrow, flesh and blood. In another instance, he said, condense all dreams, and you will get reality. This is very true. Condense dreams.